best in the world.
What I'd like to have right now.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Because I will fight for the school.
Are you ready?
It doesn't matter!
Oh, I said, are you ready? I'm a sexy beast, baby! I was up all night! And I'm for life!
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, whenever you are listening. Welcome to this week's edition of the For Life Podcast. I am one half of your host. I am Cheyenne Ortiz, joined as always by my co-host,
the big Bosch man.
Fantastic. What a weekend we're having, huh?
Have you recovered from last night?
I'm good now. I'm a little upset because I didn't have my Chinese food, my go-to post-hangover meal.
Yeah.
But I survived with tacos instead, so I'm doing all right.
Yeah, good times.
I'm doing all right. Bosch and I had the privilege, as you've seen on our Instagram, of indulging in some karaoke, or as the Japanese call it, karaoke, with our friends, and we had a fantastic time.
Oh, definitely. I might post some of those. I might play some of the performances throughout the show today.
That would be that would be great. I recommend everyone lower the volume when they come on.
Or you can visit our Instagram page. I have a few up there already.
Yeah. Yes, you could visit our Instagram page and see all my delusional facial expressions, including the extremely popular, the Cheyenne Shake, the Cheyenne Shimmy. It's going very viral right now, isn't it?
You've managed to that already tops the Norman Smiley wiggle, the French tickler, any other wrestling dance I can think of. It's top.
And you pretty much said that the rest of 2017 at this point is going downhill.
It just goes downhill from there. Nothing's gonna top that moment.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad I could do that for y'all. I'm glad.
Where did that come from? I've never seen him do that before. Where did that come from? I know GGX, what the fuck is going on? And I just said magic. I don't know how else to explain it.
You told her magic?
Yeah.
By the way, the two X-Pac elites are on sale on Ringside Collectibles, since you were looking at them the other day.
All right.
They're $27 for the pair. Believe it or not, what Ron is referring to is I did Delilah, not sung by that other guy, the good version, sang by Tom Jones. And what happened was this, because you know that I am secretly the world's greatest Tom Jones impersonator. So, long story
I didn't know
short...
it was a secret.
Well, now I guess it's out now, or at least I didn't know it was out.
I've known that since I met you.
Okay, so he does that when he sings a song.
Okay.
He does that move, except what happened was I added my own exaggerated, convulsing spin to it, and it seemed to work out okay. Because that one dance move, forget it. The ladies were dropping lawsuits, what they're dropping. So, it was a blast. It was great. It was a great time to have for everybody. Big group of us. It was like 4,400 of us in one 200 square foot room.
Tiny room,
yeah. Great time to wear winter clothes if you were in that fucking room. I lost about 40 pounds. I only weigh about, $140. So, it worked out for everybody involved. Let's talk a little wrestling. Let's kick the week off. A semi-eventful week, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but as far as I'm concerned, for me personally, I'm just putting this on the table before we get anywhere. Off the bat, I think Raw beat Smackdown. I think in the ratings, they won. It wasn't like a tremendous jump. I do know that with Michaels and Taker on this show... Yeah, with Michaels and Taker on the show, the rating was not as high as they wanted, but I do believe that Raw won. Speaking of which, the show opened up with the performance review. The performance review of Mick Foley, which came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
A performance review of Mick
like
Foley.
It's like a 6-month review, and it hasn't even been 6 months.
Yeah, basically threatening that Foley's review relies on The Undertaker, hyping The Undertaker possibly not being there. Rollins walks in, enters himself in the Rumble, even though that was already announced on the WWE app earlier in that day. Strowman comes in, says he wants Reigns or Goldberg. Rollins says, you can't get either, but you'll get me. They start brawling. Opening match is Owens and Jericho against Roman Reigns. Barely even begins because Strowman comes out, backs them up pretty much, and then we get Rollins with the save.
Well, they've been doing that a lot lately, where they'll have a match they'll have their main event early in the show, and it'll be a non-finish.
Yeah, that's been like on 3 episodes in 4 weeks.
Because they did that with Charlotte and Sasha with the false count anywhere, and now they just did it again. I guess it's kind of like to make you stick around for the main event to see that big match.
It's
pretty much been resulting in title changes.
Yeah, and this is no different at the end of the night, but we'll talk about that in a bit. Starts off with Strowman and Rollins in what I thought to be a good match. Ends up being a double count out. I thought both guys looked good.
Yeah.
I thought it was, for some reason, it was kind of awkward at the end with Rollins swinging the chair and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Just for me, it was pretty awkward.
Yeah.
We then come back from break, promo for Shawn. We get another shot of the New Orleans Saints are sitting in ringside. And then we get a Bayley and Sasha Banks promo. They're backing each other up. Charlotte walks in, says she's beaten them both. She'll do it again. Then Nia Jax comes in, takes out Charlotte, takes out Bayley, and then sends a bit of a message to Charlotte. We have Jack Gallagher against Drew Gulak, who I know. Gallagher wins the matchup. Charlie Russo interviews him. They do the 205 Live promotion with the next chapter pretty much between Navarre and Gallagher. I still think Gallagher is next in line in the Cruiserweight division as far as I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. Foley's looking for The Undertaker. Can't find him. Nothing. All right, back from break. Michaels is out to a pop. It feels like Michaels had not been on Raw in forever, which was absolutely the case. Off the top of my head, does the Flammies of 2014, right?
No. He had an interaction with Seth Rollins.
Oh, yes.
That was a lot. Goddamn, that was the last thing I remember. Now I'm watching Sullivan and Benoit and their Falls Count Anywhere from Clash.
That's one of my top 10 favorite matches of all time. Was that Clash win, 97?
January 97?
I think their first Falls Count Anywhere match was better.
Yeah.
I think that one was better when Chris walked him up the weird trumpet theme.
They just keep like going to the bathroom in all their matches, because the night before they fought on Nitro and they ended up in the bathroom also.
Yeah, they have this toilet affinity. It seems like Michaels comes out, cuts a promo, teases a Rumble involvement and the Rumble matchup. Fans, of course, doing the one more match gimmick. He says, no, not going to happen. This prompts out Rusev and Lana, which then taunts Michaels. The crowd is super into Lana and her assets. Enzo and Cass come in, join HBK. Some back and forth banter. Big Cass and Jinder Mahal. This ends up with Shawn Michaels sticking at ringside, being their Huckleberry, if you will. Michaels drops Rusev with the Sweet Chin Music. Big Cass wins with the giant elbow drop after a miscommunicated East River crossing.
Yeah.
We get another Emelina promo, which they announced on Raw that
I was not a fan of that Shawn segment.
Oh, well, please go on.
I enjoyed Rusev. I thought Rusev was entertaining.
He was on the money. I thought Rusev stole the whole show.
Yeah,
my opinion.
Rusev did. The rest weren't really on point. Considering I am a fan of Shawn. Shawn's my favorite of all time, and I am a fan of Enzo and Cass. I thought it just felt forced.
Okay.
I thought Rusev came across naturally, and he was like improv.
Yeah, a lot of people were telling me the word they were using was not forced. The word that people were using was scripted.
Yeah.
That it came off a bit too choreographed.
I think it was just to have Enzo in there with Shawn.
Yeah. And Enzo's a big Shawn fan. He's got the DX tattoo and everything. Mm-hmm. After that, they had another Emelina promo, which I was very excited that they announced in that promo that she was going to be returning soon. Lince
I
Dorado
think
took on Neville.
a few weeks ago she was advertised for the following week, like a month ago, and that never happened.
And then they bumped it again.
Yeah.
Dorado versus Neville, another shot for Neville. Neville puts Dorado in the rings of Saturn, pretty much. I got to pop out of that. Luke Gallows and Sheamus in what I thought was a very, very good match.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get some interaction mid-match from the commentaries table between Cesaro and Anderson. Then this allows Sheamus to get the win because Cesaro ends up getting the advantage over Anderson. That distracts Gallows. Gallows turns around, bro kick. And now we are back from break. Here we go. Foley cuts a promo on The Undertaker's legacy, what he means to him. Lights go out, and boom, Stephanie McMahon comes out. McMahon comes in, starts running down Foley for his inability to produce The Undertaker and some of his other failures.
Yeah.
And when Foley apologizes, the gong goes out. There's that really cool shot of Stephanie and Foley pretty much in awe of The Undertaker.
Yeah.
Taker goes on and says he's back, and he is going to be in the Royal Rumble match, which got a tremendous pop. There is a Braun Strowman tease as they show him watching backstage.
Mm-hmm.
Taker says he answers to no one. He goes wherever he wants, when he wants, which is actually pretty interesting. So that means Taker could pretty much be on any show.
Yeah.
So he announced it in the Soul where the streak ended, and he will main event WrestleMania. And if anyone's saying this his way, they will rest in peace. So as far as I'm concerned, the entire complexion of the Royal Rumble match has changed. Think about this.
Well, I guess we can
Goldberg.
You want to discuss the Rumble after we recap these shows?
Yeah, absolutely. But real quick, guys, let's think about this.
Yeah.
Goldberg, Brock Lesnar, The Undertaker in a Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Goldberg has not been in a Royal Rumble in, 12 years?
Well, he was only in one.
Go figure. And that was the tease to the Undertaker that we know now, because Undertaker was still doing the American Badass gimmick at the time. So it's the first time. Correct. First time those three men have been in the same Royal Rumble match in 12 years. Technically ever, because Taker didn't even appear at that Rumble, so I stand corrected.
Yeah, Taker was playing mind games with Kane and
right.
And Brock came out to cost Goldberg.
throw Goldberg out, which people were saying they were going to redo this year until they both got announced. Bayley and Sasha against Nia Jax and Charlotte. Nia and Charlotte get the win on that. This turns into the whole Noam Dar, Alicia Fox, Cinemax Kiss. Titus O'Neil and the New Day, another great segment. Not as good as last week, but another great segment. With the whole NXT thing and the competition. This leads to Titus and Kofi wrestling. This time Kofi gets to win. The UK tournament
who's going to face this week.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's going to be the best match out of all of them. Because those two know each other very well.
Yeah.
And now we have the handicap main event, Jericho and Owens versus Roman Reigns. This was the best match the three of them had. There were many times where I thought Reigns was going to retain. And there were many times that I thought Reigns was going to actually retain.
Yeah, there was times where I
and
thought
then
that Owens might. I thought Owens might screw Jericho out of winning that belt.
That came across my mind once, but I feel like that was too obvious.
Yeah.
So I think that's really,
or both
if I was them,
or both would pin at the same time.
Which that I thought was going to be the more likely of the two.
Yeah.
So there was that.
Well, Jericho
but
would
in
be
the
pinning
end,
him, and then Owens would kind of jump on top or get next to him.
Yeah. In the end, Jericho hits the code-breaker and is your new United States champion, which did get quite the reaction.
Well, that was the one
Jericho
belt that he's never held before.
Jericho has officially been the only man, title-wise, because he's never won a King of the Ring or a Rumble.
Yeah.
But Chris Jericho is, in fact, the only man, championship-wise, to hold every version of WWE's Grand Slam.
Yeah.
Every current title the company had available, Chris Jericho has, in fact, held. The one that eluded him was the United States title.
What about Edge? Because Edge also held everything else. Because Edge had
but I don't think. But according to Facebook, he's the only person to hold like every version of it. Like whatever the Grand Slam was and whatever criteria you needed.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just championship-wise. Because remember, Edge has a Rumble and a King of the Ring. Jericho doesn't.
And Money in the Bank.
And a Money in the Bank at that. Mind you, Jericho invented the fucking match. So.
I think Sheamus is the only other guy to have those three.
Yes.
I think Sheamus needs the Intercontinental title to hit that.
Correct. He would need because he's already won both versions of it. He wouldn't. If you want to be really an asshole about it, he needs to win the IC and the Smackdown tag titles.
Yeah.
Right.
And Universal then.
And the Universal.
Which Jericho would technically need to win because it's available.
Yeah, Jericho would technically, yes. Jericho, yes. So,
I mean, does it count as being available to you if you're not on that show? Like,
that's a fair point. I mean, I guess. I mean, they refer to Jericho as a former. I mean, it's not like it's not true, but Jericho is a former world champion. So maybe I don't know. I think we're overthinking it.
Yeah.
I think we're overthinking it. We're both right. It's a fair point that you brought up. Yeah. That is what we're here for. And we're not here to find something wrong with it, like all the other things.
Overthink and overdrink.
Exactly. Oh, true. Yeah. So that's Monday Night Raw again. I thought it was a great show. For SmackDown, Ambrose enters the Rumble. This turns into back and forth between him, Maurice, and The Miz. He gets the upper hand. Ziggler has a match with Kalisto where he turns heel, starts assaulting Kalisto.
Well, he turned heel last week, but he further.
Correct. He further infused himself. Kalisto gets beat up on some more. Cruz makes a save. They brawl up the ramp. Or up the flatland, whatever.
Yeah, then he kicked the ass with the chair.
Dissension amongst the Wyatt family between Bray, Harper, and Orton. Mm-hmm. Cena and Corbin was the main event, and what I heard was a good match, and Cena won.
Yeah.
And the Rumble is shaping up. From what it looks like. Questions, comments, concerns on SmackDown.
On 205 Live, Alicia Cost the match with Noam Dar, and Cedric broke up with her.
I was going to say they broke up, right?
Did you see the clip where she's screaming?
Where she bugs the fuck out? Yeah. I saw that.
All right. Now, I mean, as most weeks, I enjoy SmackDown more than Raw. I don't know if it just has to do with the length of the show also plays a big role in it, or... Because I don't know, but
okay.
I mean, even considering, the two legends on Monday Night Raw, it didn't really do as much for me. Like even Shawn. Like
I think Taker did what he had to do.
But Shawn was there to promote his movie and just is like, all right, which random storyline can we throw him into for the night?
Yeah, I think Taker did.
And I guess with out of all the feuds going on Raw, that was probably the only one they could throw him into, or at least with Enzo. I mean, I feel like
they could have just had him promote the movie and then kick somebody and call it a day.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Rusev's kind of been the go-to guy with all these legends. Like I know they did that with The Rock, him and Shawn. I think they did him and Piper a while. Like that was Piper's last appearance.
That was Piper's last appearance for Rusev. Yes.
Yeah. So.
Yes, it is.
But I mean, I'm looking forward to the Rumble. It's shaping up to be a good show. You have.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the two title matches. I mean, out of the two title matches, do you see Cena and Roman both walking out as champions, or? I think the internet's gonna.
Roman. That's tough.
I think the internet's gonna explode if that happens.
Cena and Roman.
Could happen.
I'm gonna say yes.
You do?
Well, I tell you what.
I mean, as much as I like Owens and AJ, I don't see WWE bringing them into Mania as their champions.
Well, remember, there's a lot of different things that are involved with that.
Unless
now
they go
apparently
with Owens,
Taker.
Unless they put Owens and Jericho in a U.S. title feud.
Apparently, Owens and Taker is not going to wrestle Strowman or Cena. The matches that we can't confirm right now: Triple H, Seth,
Big Show, and Shaq,
Jericho, Owens, Big Show, Shaq. And there's one more, and I can't remember. And then there's a possible Strowman and Roman match on the table right now for Raw.
So
as
which
far
one
as
would
I
be
see
for
it,
the title? Roman and Braun?
I think so.
And then Jericho and Owens for the U.S. title?
Yeah, if they're still going to do a Jericho-Owens feud, it's either going to be U.S. title or nothing.
Yeah.
And Jericho will probably lose because it already came out this week that he's going to go work with Fozzy after WrestleMania, and a lot of people are saying that on this time he's going to be gone for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I would have been. He's stuck around for a while.
Yeah, for this one, he's done, 3 years?
I mean, he pretty much came back last year to announce he was in the Rumble when he interrupted New Day. So
Right.
It's a little over a year, saying he goes to Mania about a year and 3 months, a year and 4 months.
Yeah. So, but a lot of people were saying...
He did that surprise comeback when he teamed with Ambrose and Roman against the Wyatts.
Right. That's the one, yeah.
That was a one-off. And then he came back to announce he was in the Rumble. Then that's when he was feuding with New Day, and then went on to AJ.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So there was all that going on, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I don't think we should be guessing any Rumble matches. I think we should just watch the Rumble and shut up, and just see what happens. Same thing with
Do you see Goldberg, Brock, or Taker winning the Rumble?
Out of those three names,
Taker?
The Undertaker.
Okay.
I do not at all. There's also rumors of Brock and Goldberg closing main event. I can't talk in English today. Closing WrestleMania, which is fine, especially if the match is not going to be a minute and 30-something seconds. But I don't see that being for the belt, no.
So then who do you see Taker facing if supposedly it's not going to be Cena?
Oh, if I booked it, it would be Cena.
Yeah.
But if the match is apparently I don't know why I can't speak English. Apparently, according to the internet, because if it's on the internet, it must be true. If the Cena Taker match is off the table, it could be anybody. I would say
Cena Taker closes if they're the match, and if it's for the title.
But the report that I read also said that whoever Taker is facing is on Raw.
On Raw.
So there's a curveball. If it's not Braun, I can't think of anybody, quite frankly.
Because if it's not Braun, it's not Owens and Jericho.
Yeah.
And it's not Rollins.
So, time will tell.
Because that pretty much knocks out the top 5 guys on the brand.
Yeah. Now, what do you think they're going to draw at the Alamo Dome? I think they're going to do 50,000.
I would say about that.
Do you think they're going to sell it out?
Yeah, I mean... I don't know if they're going to sell it out because they had trouble.
Sell out, I believe, is 70.
They had trouble selling it out in '97 with the...
Yeah, 20 years ago.
Yeah, and they were... I mean, if you listen to the Pritchard podcast about it, they were pretty much giving away tickets for that. And the
yes, and they did quite a bit of work with Taco Bell.
Yeah,
I love.
Yeah, and the tickets were really cheap for that, so I don't know if they can do it this time around. I mean, also... I'm
going to look up what the max is. I think the max there is, in fact, you can hold 72,000 there.
I mean, also this time around, fans are... you have fans that are already traveling for Mania, so I don't know how many fans are going to go out of their way to travel for Rumble. You might have
I honestly don't think...
But not as much
I think everything they're getting at the Alamo Dome is local.
Yeah, because most people are going to use their money towards Mania. They're not going to travel now and then travel again in 2 months.
According to this, for boxing, they can fit 40,000 people.
Okay.
I'm on Wikipedia because it goes American football. 65,000, expandable to 72,000. Baseball, 52,000. Canadian football, okay. 59,000. Basketball is 20,000 people, expandable to 39,500. Ice hockey is 36,000, and then boxing is 40,000 people.
Wait, how is football more people than boxing or basketball? Because wouldn't that be smaller, and you'd be able to fit more people on the field?
Thank you. If you did a WrestleMania here, they would have to do the football schematics to it. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're going to do a grandiose stage for the boxing. For the wrestling. Again, also another thing that Pritchard pointed out was it just needed to look good on TV and how they shot it. Yeah. So they were pleased with the 50,000 people. Because everything was
TNA tried to run the Alamo Dome with like 5,000 people.
Yeah, it was fucking disgusting. And then for concerts, they can do 77,000 if they did a center stage.
Yeah.
End stage is 50,000. Yeah, I think 50 is ideal, and I think that's what they're going to get. I'm on Wikipedia. These are the record crowds for the Alamo Dome. The top 5 are the 2007 Alamo Dome. They did 66,000.
Mm-hmm.
The year before that was the 2006 Alamo Dome. They did 65,000. And then a 2005 regular season NFL game between the Saints and the Falcons. They did 65,000. On the top 10, the lowest one is 64,000 at the Alamo Dome. Now, for notable, they have a whole section of notable attendance records. The number 1 is George Strait's Cowboy Tour at 70,956. Believe it or not, the number 2 is the Rumble at 60,525. So it's 10,000 people off.
All right.
So WWE on the notable mentions, they don't crack the top 10 by roughly 3,900 roughly. But they beat Cesar Chavez and Whitaker in a boxing match in '93. They beat some pretty notable football games. They beat Paul McCartney when he was there for his world tour.
Yeah.
A couple of NBA games. They beat a filming of Selena with Jennifer Lopez. They beat that. Some hockey games. So I think they're going to do 50,000. Mm-hmm. That's what I think they're going to do. Do I think they're going to beat the 65-25? They're going to beat it or match it.
Yeah.
I think matching it is a little bit more realistic.
Yeah.
You know what? I should take that back. I think they're going to match it or beat it. I mean,
have you heard anything about the ticket sales? Or
I haven't heard a thing, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I know that, again, Pritchard and Meltzer back and forth for that number. Mm-hmm. WWE says they did 60. They really did between 50 and 56,000 roughly. So, everything just kind of points to that.
Yeah.
But, WWE is a much bigger market than it was in 1997.
Yeah.
It's much more popular. They take over the city. They promote very well.
That was like pre-Attitude Era.
Pre-Attitude Era, and now we're talking the modern era where the ticket sales are,
and that was during the time like they were kind of getting beat by...
They were getting their asses kicked.
Yeah,
they were getting their asses kicked.
Yeah. And at the time, their big draw was Sean, who was the hometown boy. Because Austin was just starting.
Did it very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Austin was just starting. There was a lot of factors. The main event changed 3 or 4 times at that. At the time, plans were leading towards Brett and Sean, or Sean and a monster heel. There's all different types of factors when you talk about that event in particular. So 20 years later, I think it's a little bit easier and stress-free.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, in my opinion. Yeah. So we got all that in there. Let's now kind of shift gears a bit to another event that I'm so happy that Bosch and I were able to attend this past weekend. Bosch and I were able to go to the advanced screening of hindsight 2020. Do you think it's good we went the day we did, or do you think we should have went opening night?
I mean, I don't know if the one the night before was for the press or the one that Dick Ebersol was at.
Yeah, which is what I'm...
I don't know if that one was open to the public.
Yeah, because...
I think the ones that we went to were the first ones open to the public, so I don't think we had a chance to go the night before. I didn't see any advertisement for the night before. I only knew because Coach posted about it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Bosch and I went to an advanced screening of This Was The XFL, the new 30 for 30 documentary that's airing on February, was that the 12th or the 11th?
2nd.
I'm way the fuck off tonight. I can't speak English or count. It's on February 2nd, the newest ESPN 30 for 30 documentary about the XFL, the football league that Vince McMahon and Dick Ebersol teamed together to bring up at the height of NBC Sports. But while it was at the height of NBC Sports, NBC had just lost the contract to NFL Games and needed to fill that Sunday night void. Mm-hmm. It is already the trailer, the most shared trailer of all time, the most viewed trailer for a 30 for 30 of all time, and they are in fact expecting it to defeat the record for most watched 30 for 30, which was a 2.8, and they're hoping for more WWE support, which I think they're going to get as they get a little bit closer and once WWE gets through the Royal
I feel
Rumble.
like WWE fans are gonna want to check it out, like us, you know.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna admit I don't know shit about football. I don't watch football
Neither
at
do I.
all. Yeah, I don't watch football
Not
at
at
all.
all.
And
No.
I had a great time. I thought the documentary was great. I mean,
phenomenal.
yeah, like you don't have to be a football fan to appreciate it. Even just I think us just knowing the wrestling business and Vince that made it entertaining. But even the football stuff where just they were playing really shitty, I found entertaining, and I was just like, okay,
Yeah.
when you throw the ball and it slips out of your hand like that, that's not supposed to happen. And I don't even watch football, you know.
Yeah, if you are a fan of sports in general, if you're
and as a football fan, I'm sure they would appreciate it too.
yeah,
Laughing
whether
at
you
the
like
the bad
football
stuff,
or
so.
wrestling or sports entertainment or sports in general, you need to see this documentary, right?
Yeah,
It was just
it exceeded what I was my expectations.
agree. Yeah, big time.
Yeah, and I
Big
mean
time.
it's a shoe-in for best documentary outside of WWE. Well, there's still another 30 for 30 coming out this year.
Yeah,
so,
that's the one I'm waiting for.
I hope they do a screening for that one. That'd be cool.
That would be cool. I would just cry. What a great documentary. Everybody that was involved in the XFL, from Vince to Dick Ebersol to the announcers to the coaches to the players to the cheerleaders, of course. Everybody,
the cheerleader coordinator,
cameraman. I mean, everybody was on there. Great stories, great insight. The fact that there was, I can't say at least talks, there was a commitment and there was in fact the potential to have a season 2 of the XFL. And the fact that you kind of, despite, not having all the ends meet, I think Vince was way more passionate and into the XFL than he's ever going to get credit for. I think
I definitely got that.
I think Dick Ebersol also was more into it than anybody will.
I think he was into it, but he was also he was more realistic.
Correct. They did a tremendous job of profiling Dick Ebersol and Vince McMahon's careers individually and as friends.
Yeah.
And I think
I'm not going to spoil the ending, but I thought the ending was pretty sweet too.
Yeah, the ending was cool. That really brought it all into perspective.
Yeah.
And showcased just two guys that love each other.
Yeah.
Genuinely love each other.
I mean, I don't think Vince came out. I don't think either Vince or Dick came out looking bad in this documentary
at all. And
it just shows that
how,
Vince was passionate about this. He put his money into it, and it just happened. Yeah. It just happened to not work out. It was.
I don't think. Can you say it didn't work out, or do you think they just couldn't fix it in time? Which is
I don't know. I mean,
really,
I think it was just like a mix of both. Or just not being. I think it was a little optimistic to launch it, or to announce the launch of the year before and not have teams or players. Like he got lucky that he got the TV deal, but then to not have. I mean, they pretty much didn't have teams and players until like a few months, like 2 months before, right?
Basically.
Yeah, so I think the players weren't prepared. And I think had he given it maybe 2 years, or maybe worked on it behind the scenes for a year before announcing it.
Yeah.
I think that might have helped a bit, or helped them been more prepared. I think it was just a lot of lack of preparation. I think that was the biggest downfall.
Yeah, I agree.
Not lack of passion or determination.
But again, just the passion they had for it, tremendous. And it was good to see
definitely recommend it. And they had the cool little pop-up Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that was cool, to actually see. One of the biggest things that I wish I still had was the XFL football. Mm-hmm. We got to see jerseys, program guides, media guides, binders, schedules, notes for the announcers, for the producers.
Yeah.
The championship game trophy, the camera. I mean, we saw a lot, Bosch.
Yeah, I mean, even now, like the NFL uses the Sky Cam and the cameraman on the field, so you can't really say it was a flop if it's still being or it had influence on what's being done today in the NFL.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's like saying ECW was a flop when they influenced the WWE.
Correct. Great comparison. Were you sad that it was over, like the documentary? Because I literally wanted more.
I mean, I guess there was only so much they can cover in a year and a half span.
Yeah, it was
And it
so
was pretty
good.
cool
Again,
that He Hate Me was at the Q&A before us, and he was sitting in front of us for a few minutes during the screening.
Yeah, and then we had the coach of which team? The manager rather of Orlando.
I didn't catch which one he was the manager of. He was.
Yeah, he was great. And it was great the pictures that we got to take. It was real beautiful. I wish I had that damn poster.
And it was pretty cool. I wish a friend of mine got a picture with He Hate Me earlier in the day, but then he was gone by the time we got out.
He didn't get a poster though, right?
No.
All right, good. So he didn't get a poster. Yeah, again, it airs on February the what, Bosch? Because I can't say it. I'm going to get it wrong. February 2nd. I was going to say the 4th, literally. The 2nd, ESPN 30 for 30. And then, of course, we get to look forward to the Ric Flair one that airs sometime this century. Mm-hmm. Real quick, we're going to talk the UK tournament to crown the United Kingdom heavyweight champion. Bosch, you're already in the part 2, right?
I finished it.
Oh, you're done. I have, according to this, 15 minutes left in the part 1. Mm-hmm. First, I'm just gonna breeze through it because then you can take over because you've seen it all. Trent Seven in the opening matchup. I like that match. The bruiserweight Leonardo DiCaprio, Jack Dawson. He was great. Evil Finn Balor was great. British Jason Statham was great, which is Danny Burch, or really more like British Agent 47, and Wolfgang. I enjoyed all of them.
Yeah.
Awesome talent, awesome matches. I'm glad from a production standpoint it was shot at the Ballroom. And
it was a beautiful venue, yeah.
Beautiful venue. I'm glad it wasn't shot in like an indie arena.
Oh yeah, like one of the
UK,
Progress.
Because they're like smaller and more intimate. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm glad it was shot at this place. Uh-huh. Question for you: do you think they should have done? I'm happy they chose Michael Cole. I'm not.
He did a great job
when I say that. Mm-hmm. Phenomenal. Do you think they should have chose Morrow, like people are saying? I disagree.
Should have chosen who?
Mauro Ranallo.
No. I like Michael Cole.
I think Mauro would have had less notes to take because he knows all those guys and did work for them. But I think Michael Cole was a great choice.
Yeah.
I think he would have been much better also.
Too over the top.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah. I thought it was fun. I had no complaints.
Yeah, I thought they did a tremendous job. I was familiar with some of the guys. Like Danny Burch because of NXT, and there was Caldwell was a bald gentleman. He won with a headbutt.
I think so.
Yeah, him. I knew who he was from because I watched some.
And
not a lot,
Mark Andrews was from TNA.
Yeah, him I knew also. But there's some times that I'll catch like ICW stuff on YouTube. Yeah, so take it away because I haven't seen it in its entirety yet. I know who wins, but I haven't.
I mean, I enjoyed day 2. I think they really found something good with the bruiserweight Peter Dunne.
Yes, Jack Dawson, yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was great. They did shoot that angle with him and Regal at the end of the first episode where Regal kind of has the 8 guys going into the quarterfinals kind of facing off and standing by the belt, and Jack just goes across and elbows, gives the guy a forearm, and Regal gets in his face and is yelling at, it looks like Regal's yelling at his son when he's yelling in his face.
Okay.
It looked like Regal was about to hit him. And then in the back, he's yelling at him. They show it in the second episode where he's yelling at him, and he's like, Triple H and I worked 6 months to get this thing together. Don't ruin it. So I think they have something good with him.
Okay.
And him and what's this kid's name? Tyler Butte make it to the finals, and Tyler wins the championship at the age of 19, which is crazy.
Oh, wow.
He did his finisher on Wolfgang, which I thought was probably the most impressive thing, which is kind of the Tiger Driver Pro River Plunge.
Okay.
So I thought it was a really good tournament. I enjoyed it. As far as what they're doing moving forward, are they just going to have their own British show on the network, or
I
are they going to be?
I
kind of
don't
mixed
know.
in?
I know. I'll go as far as saying I know it's being talked about.
Okay. I would say
And
as long as I think they're better off leaving it in the UK. I would hope. I think because if they try to bring them over here, not everybody's going to be. I mean, kind of like the cruiserweights, where not everybody's over here like they were in Full Sail.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I think they're better off. I don't know. Whatever they do, I would say leave it over there.
All I do know is that WWE is talking about doing a women's tournament, and that
I'm looking forward to.
That can happen as soon as the summer. I can say that.
Yeah.
And this was on the internet too. This one, this is a rumor. They are considering doing other tournaments in other countries. Will they be long-term shows? I don't know, but I agree with your theory for it to be a network exclusive thing.
Where do they go with this guy with the championship?
I personally,
Mm-hmm.
I think he should be in the Royal Rumble.
Because then you also have this
Why
other
not?
guy. I mean, they also pretty much made a star out of Pete Dunne. I think he's a great heel.
I think this guy should be in the Rumble. The guy who won the tournament, he should be in the Rumble.
Yeah.
He should be in the Rumble.
I mean,
in terms of long-term stuff with them, I don't know.
Yeah. But I did enjoy watching it.
It was great.
Yeah.
Well, what I've seen, excuse me. I've seen, great. It was good. The part 2. Is it as emotional as the Cruiserweight tournament? Because I saw the ending majority of that, rather.
That's a tough question because I was more familiar with the guys in the Cruiserweight tournament than I was with this tournament. Because I kind of went in. I went into this tournament not knowing anybody. I mean, and I got attached.
Okay, same with us. Same with me,
yeah.
rather.
As I went through it, and I started liking the guys that stood out to me, but I went in not knowing who anybody was. Like, I recognized Mark Andrews' name from TNA, and even then I wasn't watching TNA, so I wasn't familiar with him either, but I thought it was pretty good. I think with the Cruiserweight tournament, it was different because I knew, like, more than half the guys in it.
Yeah.
So I was already familiar with a lot of those names, or I had seen them performing in the indies.
Yeah. Okay. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I think it was a great way to introduce new talent and to potentially introduce a new product.
Yeah.
Whatever that new product may be, because obviously it's similar to, where do we, where do you go from there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Overall, it seems to have been a good tournament. I can't wait to finish it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I know you guys are telling me it's really, really good, so I'm looking forward to that. I wish everybody would stop blasting my time out with cowboy shit. Anyway, yeah, that covers it. Oh, and then I guess.
Hey, For Life listeners, this is The Cap here with Mike the Finance Guy and Ralph the Tech, inviting you to check out our Geektastic podcast, Meanwhile, 22 pages later.
So if you're a Whovian, a lover of capes and tights, a gamer, or a TV movie watcher, and you want some very honest reviews from some very funny guys,
check out our podcast. It's on iTunes and also on SoundCloud. And if you want to join in the discussion, check out our Facebook page. Oh, and by the way, that 22 is the number.
Now, back to Bosch and Cheyenne.
I might be able to hear you.
Wow. You see, I bet it's slow when I borrow.
There we go.
Yeah. Woo. That's why I'm easy.
Like some of the exes.
Not as easy as my ex. Easy like Sunday morning.
That's the shoe.
Yeah. That's it. That's why I'm easy.
He's also
Easy like Sunday morning.
Superfly.
unfortunately today, this one's really tough.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime a wrestler of any kind passed away, but when it's a pioneer like this and a nice guy, from what everybody seems to tell me.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the post this morning that his daughter posted, where she's holding his hand, and at first, I think I was like half asleep when I saw this. I thought like he was really sick in the hospital, and she didn't outright say he passed away. She just said, I can look it up.
Yeah.
But I thought he was just really sick, and I posted in the group, like, I don't think he's doing too well.
Yeah, and then apparently it was Rock that confirmed it and then shared it first.
Yeah.
But today, unfortunately, we lost.
I love you, Dad. Forever my dad. Rest well.
Yeah, forever my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately today, Jimmy Superfly Snuka passed away. He had a long time battle with stomach cancer, was it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, long time battle with stomach cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, this was not this, but 2017 rather was 2016. What is wrong with me today? 2016 was not the best year for Snuka, as he was dealing with a lot of health issues and
legal issues.
Legal issues. It wasn't the best year for him. He had to stop taking indie bookings pretty much by spring. Yeah. So, Jimmy Snuka, one of the all-time, and I mean all-time greats, one of the most underappreciated and at one time underutilized talents. I have, in fact, heard people say that Jimmy Snuka is the greatest person, the greatest wrestler to have never been the world champion.
Yeah.
I have, in fact, heard people say that.
I mean, there's a few people on that list.
No, there is a few people, but I've heard people be extremely passionate.
I mean, considering how over he was in the 80s, like he was pretty much the big star right before Hogan.
Yes. Well, a lot of people say that if it wasn't for the, legal issues that ended up happening and, the drugs and stuff, that it would have, in fact, been Jimmy. That it would have, in fact, been Jimmy. So, in a very positive way, we now talk about the memories that we have about wrestlers when they pass away. Bosch, what do you have to say about Superfly Jimmy Snuka?
I mean, I think it's a shame that the stories that kind of surfaced over the last 2 years. I mean, it's been rumored and I've heard it for decades, but it kind of resurfaced and they opened the case up about a year or two ago, and then he wasn't capable of being tried. And I think that's kind of going to be the dark cloud that's going to hang over his legacy.
Yeah.
Because I think it was kind of 50-50 where I was seeing people mentioning that, and it's unfortunate, but I mean, as far as in the industry, I mean, we weren't around for most of his big moments in the 80s, but I would say that obviously the splash from the cage on Don Morocco that influenced Foley and Dreamer and a lot of other wrestlers. He was
what is it? Foley, Dreamer, and Bubba were all at that same exact Garden show before they had even thought about knowing
exactly.
Right?
That's three, I would say, Hall of Famers right there.
Yeah.
And as far as high flyers, he's probably one of the first high flyers.
As far as I'm concerned, one of the first ones. One of the first ones. In terms of quickness and springboarding and just doing things that guys at that time would not do. Like the head scissors, the plancha, and all that stuff. All that stuff back then was foreign. All that stuff was foreign. That wasn't common. That wasn't like it is now.
Flips and backflips and 450s off the cages and stuff, but for Snuka to be the one to do it off the cage, it was original at the time.
Yes, and what a lot of people don't know, and I don't mean this in a negative way towards Snuka, but this is more for fans. The Superfly splash off the cage had been done a few times off the cage, but not televised. It had been done several times.
In the Garden, on a bigger stage.
Well, remember, it was done at the Garden months prior, or even a year prior, was it, when he took on Bob Backlund, right?
Yeah.
All right, it was done against Bob Backlund.
But I think this one gets the focus because Foley was there, and he pretty much references that as his inspiration to become a wrestler.
Yeah, I don't think it got as much credit until, like, again, Foley and all those people were there.
Until, like, the Foley vignettes.
Yeah.
And then it kind of to coincide with him jumping off the roof.
Yeah. It had been done in the territories. Flair has, in fact, taken that from the cage in the territories. It had been done in Charlotte and Mid-Atlantic because Jimmy did start in Mid-Atlantic.
Yeah.
For quite a while. What a lot of people don't know is that when he was brought to WWF, which was still WWF, Jimmy was actually brought in as a heel. He was managed by Captain Lou Albano and was a subsidiary of the Wild Samoans and such.
Yeah.
In the territory, he was like very Japanese names like Big Snuka, Great Snuka. He had a lot of Japanese. Jeez, I'm stupid today. Samoan and Fijian names. Tammy Snuka and I think Kealoha or something like that. He's one of the first ECW heavyweight champions, by the way. That just came off the top of my head. I think Morocco's the first, and he's like second or third.
Oh, he would have been the first TV champion?
Let's see. Now, let me go and look at... Oh, excuse me. He was the inaugural ECW heavyweight champion.
Okay.
During the Eastern Championship Wrestling reign. Yes. Yeah, he was the first one, not Morocco. They brought Morocco in to foil him.
Okay.
And then, he started in Hawaii. He wrestled NWA Pacific. And he actually, at the time, had a feud with Jesse Ventura down in Hawaii. Then he came into Texas in the 70s. Again, he worked Mid-Atlantic. And here's something that I forgot. He teamed with Paul Orndorff. That's right. And they actually feuded with Jack and Jerry Briscoe for the NWA tag titles. A lot of times. He teamed with Ray Stevens in Georgia. And they feuded with Ted DiBiase and Steve Olzanowski. That's how you say his name. And then by 82, Snuka was in the WWF.
Yeah.
He was, again, brought under Captain Lou, lost a couple times to Bob Backlund, and then I think the blow-off was the cage where he missed the splash.
Yeah.
Then, of course, Buddy Rogers, told Snuka that he was being cheated financially from Albano and all this other stuff, and that's how he became a face, and that's when the Morocco match pretty much happened.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting one. Sandman, Foley, Dreamer, and Bubba Ray were all in attendance that night.
Good Lord.
He was...
it's the whole fucking ECW roster right there.
Basically, like the Mount Rushmore.
Was Heyman doing photography for that?
Yeah. Afterwards. And then of course the 84 feud with Piper.
Oh yeah, the coconut.
Yeah.
He was in Hogan and Mr. T's corner for the first main event of WrestleMania.
Yeah. And then he was again part of the first WrestleMania, like Bosch said. Then he kind of like disappeared in '85. He did a couple AWA shows. I remember that when they were on ESPN. And he also worked New Japan a lot.
Yeah.
Which his stuff in New Japan is really good if you want to check that out on YouTube. Then he came out of nowhere at WrestleMania 5 and came back. I was born in 90, so I always remember Snuka like beating people, like just beating jobbers on TV.
Yeah.
So we're on my VHS collection. So I remember him beating up guys on like Primetime and Challenge, and occasionally on Saturday Night's Main Event. Like I have the tape of him against Boris Zukov. Like I have that, and I know he feuded with Honky Tonk and DiBiase and
Taker's
Hennig.
first.
Yeah, and
Mania
he was basically at that time the veteran to put over new guys.
Yeah.
That became his role. Jimmy was actually an attraction on undercards of house shows. So like if they had Hogan, he would be like the undercard attraction. So Hogan versus Big Boss Man and Jimmy Superfly Snuka. Like he was the undercard attraction. Or
I guess like Brooklyn Brawler or something, right?
Correct. Or if like the B team didn't have Hogan, like if it was Piper and Rude, it would be Piper, Rude, Steel Cage, plus Jimmy Snuka in action at the Meadowlands. That's how they would do it. And then of course, tons of Survivor Series matches, like you mentioned. The first guy in the streak, Jimmy Superfly Snuka. Then he was in the Rumble that year, and then he just kind of went to ECW and did a lot of indie shows, and he was on a Monday Night Raw, on one of the early ones. He just pretty much spent the mid-90s all the way up to like WrestleMania 25 doing indies.
Well, I know there was he would have gone into the Hall of Fame in '96, right?
Yeah.
And then he was at Survivor Series the following night. He was a mystery man for one of those teams.
Correct. Correct. He went in the Hall of Fame the next night, yes.
I know he did that.
Of course.
Just because I recently watched it, he was in that
cage. That's what I was going to talk about.
The cage match with Jarrett, when Funk put him in that, like, 3 stages of Legends match.
Yeah.
And him and Benoit did the splash and the headbutt off the top of the cage.
Correct. He was on a Smackdown. Let's not forget about that.
Which one was that?
When it was O'Hare and Piper and then Snuka and Rikishi.
Correct. Oh yeah.
And
also,
then,
there was a Raw that I went to in the Garden. I think it was the night after SummerSlam 2002.
I was there. Lifetime Achievement Award.
And then Jericho came out and put him in the Walls of Jericho.
Was it that, or did he get beat by 3-minute warning?
The one that I was at was Jericho.
Then that had to be, I think, a house show.
The 3-minute warning must have been another time. I don't think 3-minute warning wasn't there yet in 2002. I think they joined.
Was it Jericho?
I think so. He came out and...
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And
then he started doing... Right. He started... I don't know if it was like a list gimmick or he started doing something to rile up the crowd while they were on commercial.
You're absolutely right. It was Jericho.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. The main for that was Brock, Triple H, Taker.
No, it was just Brock and Taker.
Last. Oh, Brock. Yes, Brock and Taker. And that was his last appearance before going to SmackDown.
Both went to SmackDown. Brock and Taker.
Oh, right. Brock left with the title.
He left with Stephanie
with
that
the title. I'm like stuck on stupid today. What the hell? Left the title and then Taker.
I think that was the first Raw I ever went to.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I went to SmackDown earlier the year, the night after Triple H returned, but that was my first Raw. Night after SummerSlam. I can't think, and I'm sure he would make returns during all those Legends reunions and.
Yeah, the homecoming where he did the splash on.
Yeah, anytime there was a homecoming or a Raw anniversary where they would have all the Legends, he'd be there.
Yep, pretty much always.
Then the 2008 Royal Rumble, you were there for that.
Yes, which I popped super hard for.
Yeah.
Snuka came out.
Piper.
Snuka came out, then Piper, the Red Sea. It was actually Triple H and Taker in the main of that Raw.
Correct.
Triple H and Taker, and then for some reason this isn't like comprehensive. So
and then it ended up Taker and Brock fought at the pay-per-view because Taker became the
because Taker ended up on SmackDown the next night.
Yes.
After Stephanie.
Which I watched at WWF New York.
Oh, that must have been fun.
Yeah.
So there was that. So Snuka was great from friends that have worked indie shows and stuff. They say he was one of the nicest guys you could ever met.
Yeah, I mean, I met him briefly at WrestleCon, and he was. I mean, it was a quick interaction, but he was really nice when I met him. Then I think his last big angle would have been the stuff with Jericho and the Legends.
Yeah,
Mania
WrestleMania 25.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people don't know, changed a few times. They weren't going to get Snuka, and at one time it wasn't going to be
Steamboat. It was going to be
Valentine.
Yeah, Greg Valentine.
Valentine, Lawler, for whatever reason, which is what Jericho thought and wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Jericho thought and wanted. Lawler didn't pan out, even though he was in fact teased at one time for that feud. They just opted not to do it.
Then at one point it was just people that were at WrestleMania 1, and somehow I guess they forgot that Steamboat was there, so they were gonna go with Valentine.
Correct.
Which I don't think would have worked.
It would have worked better than people think, but it would have not worked as well as Steamboat. But I'm not going to sit here and say it would have been, oh my God, look at Greg Valentine.
Yeah.
But it would have been all right. I mean, come on, let's be real. Jericho was going over,
Yeah.
What the fuck, So, I think, I'll put it like this. If Valentine would have went in, Flair would have had to have done more.
Yeah.
Because Flair had just retired. So, something like Flair and Piper probably would have had to have done more.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Snuka didn't do much in that match.
He was first one out, right?
Yeah.
Or was it Roddy?
No, it was Snuka, then Roddy, because I know Roddy actually did pretty good.
Yeah, he hit the drop kick, the sunset, the knee lift. He hit everything.
Yeah.
He hit it all. So there was that, and just a nice guy from what everybody unanimously seems to say.
Mm-hmm.
A tremendous career, and trailblazer, even though I hate that term, but trailblazer and door opener for island wrestlers.
Yeah.
For those from Fiji, Samoa, from Tonga, from the Himalayas, from the Pacific Islands, from that region, because if you really think about it, with the exception of the Samoans, until Jimmy comes in from the Pacific Islands, it was really the Samoans were the only islanders.
Mm-hmm.
And if you remember, Jimmy had to go to rehab during the Piper feud, so they got the Tonga Kid, a.k.a. Haku, to be his nephew to take over the feud. So that opened the door for Tonga, for Tama Tonga, for all those people that are now pretty much like commonplace. You can't turn on a wrestling show without having a Samoan or somebody from the Pacific Islands on there. So, even though Jimmy was shoot from Hawaii, fun fact about Jimmy, did you know that he used to work at the resorts in Hawaii, and he was a cliff diver?
No, I didn't.
He was a cliff diver, so that's why, high risk and getting over heights wasn't that big of a deal for him, because he was already jumping off of cliffs and shit. Mm-hmm. And what he was notorious for was telling people to throw a quarter, and when he would dive, he would go down and catch it.
Nice. Before
he even hit the water. He was notorious for that. Then, after a while, it became insane. People were like, all right, well, here's my watch. So, which, not for nothing, I'd rather grab a watch than a damn quarter. But, so that's how the heights thing kind of started. He used to do that at the Fiji Islands, and he used to play instruments and stuff, and he used to do the fire stuff and all that. But, what a tremendous career.
Yeah.
Jimmy's going to be missed. Jimmy Snuka's going to be missed. Yeah.
And our thoughts.
Yeah, one of the original guys to make wrestling mainstream.
Yeah.
Without question. And like Bosch said, our thoughts and prayers are with Tamina and Jimmy Snuka Jr., a.k.a. He was Deuce, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Jimmy Snuka Jr. was Deuce.
Sim Snuka briefly.
Sim Snuka, brief for Legacy, which we'll talk about another day. Or not at all, because that's how good that was.
Or the cameraman that caught Taker at Mania 25.
And when you say caught, you use that word loosely, right?
Caught him with his head.
Yeah, basically. Caught him with everything but his arms. But it was fun.
I mean, it's tough to catch somebody when you're already holding a camera.
That's true. Let me not. Yeah, that's all I got. You know, I do have a question for you, Bosch. If people wanted to get a hold of us on social media, how would they go about doing that?
So you're setting me up to be an asshole again. At
No,
Podcast.
No, it's the routine question that you yourself turned yourself into an asshole. So I'm giggling because I don't know what I'm going to get.
At For Life Podcast. I've always I mean that's our podcast account, so I've always been nice with that.
That's true. I see what you're saying. Okay, we'll get there then. If people wanted to pick up some of that nifty For Life Podcast merchandise, how would they go about that?
www.redbubble.com/people/4lifepodcast.
That's just fantastic. I love how easily that rolls off the tongue. And if people want to get a hold of you, how would they go about doing that?
At I am the Bosch man. I can't do it 2 weeks in a row. I have to, like, you're expecting it now.
No, I am.
Okay, so I have to catch you, like, when you least expect it.
Okay, that's fine. That's fair enough. That was great the first time.
Yeah.
I don't have any, aside from the normal people I'm going to try to plug as quickly as possible. Do you have anybody you want to plug, put over, put under, anything real quick?
22 pages later, if you're into comics.
Fantastic.
That's all I got.
Okay. My buddy Kayfabe Kingdom, who's going to be launching some merchandise soon. So definitely give him a shout. I've been talking about him for like 3-4 weeks now.
He designed the 2 new For Life Podcast logos.
One of which was the cover for last week's episode.
And the Coliseum video logo, which we have available at our store on Redbubble.
Yep.
I actually ordered the stickers. They should be coming soon. To fill up the rest of the space on my laptop.
Yeah. Let's see. What else do I have? Once again, Beast Nation for just customizing and doing action figures. He's just fantastic. He's phenomenal. Showstopper Customs, who I mentioned last week. Who else is there? I said Beast Nation. The Kylie and V podcast. Once again, definitely check them out. That's my homie, my home dog Vanessa. The vacation of my staycation, as I call her.
That's a good one.
We got. Thank you. You could use that one.
All right.
We got them to put over. We did 22 pages later. I feel like I'm missing 1,000 people for some reason, but
you have an Ace show coming up.
I do have an Ace show coming up. That's right, guys. If you want to see me commentate, February the 4th at the Morgan Junior Arena, 67 Hathaway Street, Wallington, New Jersey. It's February the 4th, Hero Celebration, the 3rd annual Hero Celebration, the 3rd annual Mike Morgan Jr. Memorial Cup. This year, the theme is tag teams. It'll be a tag team tournament to crown the 3rd annual Mike Morgan Jr. Cup Memorial winner. We can now announce that Style and Finesse, Mike Donovan and Rob Vegas, will team for the first time in 8 years.
Wow.
At American Championship Entertainment in order to become the Cup champions. The current Ace Heavyweight Tag Team champions, the Dukes, are in action as well. Golden Showers, as in Ultimo Maya and Prince Akanan, they will be competing as well. And, of course, the Disciples of Fear and many more teams to be announced during the week. If I'm not mistaken, it is an 8-team tournament.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, it's an 8-team tournament.
You don't have to tell me the surprise, but
there are surprises planned. Yes.
Interesting.
There are surprises planned.
This is one of the 2 shows I attend in the year.
Yeah, this is second biggest show.
Yeah, I always tried to make it out for this one, especially.
No. Well, these are the 2 you always go to, but I know when I first started, you came to quite a few. Which no harm, no foul. Nobody supports me like you do. So, yeah.
I mean, if I could, it's tough because it's far, and I always have stuff going on. But I always try, at least the Crossroads and the Heroes show. I always try to make
Yeah.
it too.
Yeah, this one's going to be very, very interesting. Also scheduled to appear, your current Ace Heavyweight champion, Danny Moss, Monster Max, Stockade, Adam Payne, Anthony FMD Ramirez, and so many more on the card. Tickets are available at aceprowrestling.com. We could also see me hosting Overdrive and all that good stuff. But it's going to be interesting. This is the third annual one. This cup is the first time we're doing it with tags. Donovan and Rob alone, just making history by being together for the first time in 8 years. They were Mikey's favorite tag team, so that means the world that they're coming together.
Yeah. And I like that it's different every year. It was a Rumble the first year, a singles tournament, and now a tag tournament.
Yeah. And now it's a tag team tournament. It's special. It's the second biggest show of the year, behind Crossroads, probably the most emotional.
Definitely.
I really thought about this over the weekend, believe it or not, and for me, it's probably the biggest show for me.
Yeah.
For me, it probably is. It's going to be quite a happening to be a part of. Once again,
and the empanadas are great.
The food, the empanadas, the shrimp.
Considering
fish.
how much the Garden and Barclays and all these places overcharge for shitty food.
Yeah.
You guys don't charge that much for amazing food, and I love it. So that in itself is usually a draw for me.
We're big on that. If you like empanadas, we got them. There's all types there. There's chicken, there's beef, there's ham, pepperoni, and sausage calzone empanadas, okay? There is a ham and cheese empanada. There's a
I love the ham and cheese.
Empanada.
I love that one. The mac and cheese? You guys have the mac and cheese?
No, the mac and cheese is retired. We have we have a plethora of empanadas. Not to mention we have, of course, everyone's favorite fries from France. We also have, we've got burgers, we've got hot dogs, we've got fish and chips, we've got shrimp. It's kind of like Billy Gunn. We've got it all. So we try to do it that way. Beverages, we've got Coke, we've got water, we've got Trio, we've got it all. So we try. Parking, we've got parking. It's a bus straight from Times Square. Barely a 30-minute ride on a good day, right, Bosch?
Give or take, maybe 45 minutes.
Give or take.
I don't know. Maybe the bus you guys take leaves you closer. The one that I take leaves me by Burger King.
Oh, you're not taking the 160 bus?
No.
No one's told you about the 160 bus at all.
Apparently not. I've always taken the one that leaves me by Burger King that I have to cross two bridges.
I am a shitty person. Well, for those of you who are listening, you can take, and this includes you, Bosch.
Thank you.
You can take the 160 bus from Port Authority, and it leaves you 2 blocks away.
Oh, that's nice. Better than a mile away.
Yes, and it pretty much cuts out like 10 to 15 minutes.
Good to know.
Yeah, you get in about 30 minutes or less. If I'm not mistaken, it's a 160 bus, and I think on the weekends it leaves from gate 20. But I'll get the definitive information for you.
Yeah, just send me the info for.
Everybody takes it, but I guess nobody decides to tell you this. I'm sorry, I feel horrible.
Well, I went through Google Maps and it gave me that one. I think it's I don't know which one it is. I take it.
It's not the Mexican bus?
No, I take the New Jersey Transit.
And it leaves you over there by the. Oh yeah, you got fucked. Yeah, we'll set you straight.
All right.
So yes, that's all I got. I just put my hand up my ass and I got nothing left up there. What about you?
That was way too much information.
No, I'm just saying, I got nothing to pull out of my ass. I got nothing. I covered everybody.
Okay. On that note,
I covered everybody.
Yeah, I don't really know how to follow that, but on that note,
yeah.
We'll leave you with some of our tunes from last night. I'll put a little something together.
Nothing. Nothing will scare you more than hearing hearing us
and Team Package.
And Team Package. That's right, Team Package with this. What songs are going to be so I could give it a nice intro and get it ready?
I guess All Night Long. Great Balls of Fire. Those are the two we did together.
Okay, let's do. Can we do Great Balls of Fire? Because I think that sounds clearer. Because All Night Long, everybody's in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
What else?
Well, we did a couple. I Want It That Way was all 4 members of Team Package.
Oh, then that was just you, me, and Jones.
Yeah, well, no, Malik's in there screaming.
All right, and you'll see.
We'll figure out.
I'll look through the
so
videos.
Get ready to hear some form of us singing, and we hope that none of you go deaf. When you're listening to your podcast or doing karaoke to it, you're doing it for
life.
Feels good. Hold me, baby. I got a something like lover should. You're fine. So kind. I got to show us what you. I put my nails and I curl my thumbs. I can't remember if I show this fun. Come on, baby. Time to raise it. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Well, my friends, that time has come to raise the roof and have some fun. Raise the roof, y'all! Throw away all the work to be done. Let the music play on. Everybody sing, everybody dance. Lose yourself in wild romance. We're gonna do party, caramba, fiesta, forever. Come on and sing along. Party, caramba, fiesta, forever. Come on and sing along. All night long, all night, all night, all night, all night long, all night, all night, all night, all night long, all night, all night, all night long, all night, all night. People that dance all up in the street. Don't come back to the bus and see your rhythm and to me. Why else we get your cold? Life is good, wild and sweet. Let the music play on, play on. Feel it in your heart, feel it in your soul. Let the music take control. We're going to party, caramba, fiesta, forever. Come on and sing along. All night long, fiesta, forever. All night long, all night, all night long, all night, all night long, yeah, all night long. Once you get started, you can't sit down. Join the party. Everyone's dancing their troubles away. Come join our party and see how we play. Somebody just say, somebody just say, oh yeah, yeah, jump, now in English. Oh, yeah. What gonna happen? Only if it's Penny. All night long, all night, all night, all night long, all night, all night long, all night long. He's trying to get to the Mogu. He's trying to get to the Mogu. All night. All night long. Yeah, sure.